Good morning, Pastor Chris here. Welcome to the Poolside Chat. There was an original Star Trek episode back in 1969. It was called The Last Battlefield. And they had in this episode these two aliens, Lokai and Bele. And in the episode, they were split right down the middle, half black, half white. And they want to kill each other. They hate each other. Comes to turn out that they get back, capture the Enterprise, and force them to take them back to their home planet Charon. And when they get there, they realize that a great battle had happened, and every person of this race has been killed. They are the last two. And they start fighting again, and it's like, what are you fighting about? It's like, well, look at him. And it's like, yeah. Can't you see it? And they're half black, half white. And Lokai says, he's black on the left half. Like, yeah. And he says, I'm black on the right half. They go down to the planet, and they continue to chase and battle each other until they've eliminated this race. The last battlefield. There's a story in the Bible in John chapter 4, and it's on it's called the story of the Samaritan woman, the woman at the well. Something you may not know, in Samaria, the Samaritans in Jesus' day absolutely hated each other, Jews and Samaritans. Samaritans were people that came into existence from the Assyrian conquest of the northern kingdom. Captured the Jews, Assyrians moved into Israel, and they took wives from the Jewish people, so their children were half Jewish, half Samaritan. And they developed, because they were outcasts, they were looked as not pure Jews. Hated each other. The Jews hated the Samaritans hated the Jews. Actually, in reading this, I didn't look it up. Luke 8:32. I want to make sure I tell you right. Jesus is called a Samaritan by the Jews. An insult from the Jews. Meaning you're not a true Jew, you're an enemy of Jews, you're half-breed. That's wrong. I don't know the verse. I'd have to look up the verse. But in Jesus' day, Jews, Samaria was in the middle of Israel. So what would happen is instead of going from the south to the north, just a straight line, they would curve around so they wouldn't have to walk through Samaria. That's how much hatred there was for Samaritans. Samaritans worshipped at Mount Gerizim. They formed their own almost religious sect within Judaism. They kept the Torah. They worshipped Mount Gerizim. There were very similar belief systems, but enough differences to make them distinct sects. And in the midst of this, Jesus comes up, and it said, and this is John chapter 4. Now Jesus learned that the Samaritans had heard that he was gaining and baptizing more disciples than John. Although in fact it was not Jesus who had baptized, but his disciples. So he left Judea and went back once again to Galilee. Now he had to go through Samaria. He came to a town in Samaria called Sychar, near the plot of ground Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired as he was from the journey, sat down by the well. It was about noon. When a Samaritan woman came to draw water, Jesus said to her, "Will you give me a drink?" His disciples had gone into town to buy food. Samaritan woman said to him, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink?" For Jews do not associate with Samaritans. A lot of significance in these words. Number one, Jews don't go to Samaria at this time. They saw Samaritans as dirty, unworthy. Number two, at this time, Jesus, a man, a rabbi, a teacher, would not talk to a woman. Different sects, different classes. He just didn't do that. Number three, they say it's about noon. It's important because this woman does not go with the other women from Samaria to draw water, which would have been early in the day. She goes at noon, the height of the day, when the other women in town weren't there. This woman, we find out, has had 5 husbands, and the person she lives with now is not her husband. So she's what we would call a loose woman. She would be an outcast amongst the women of Samaria. And this is who Jesus talks to. Well, they go back to town, they talk to the Samaritans, they stay with them. The Samaritans say, "Please stay with us some more, we'll help you, we'll feed you." And he does. And then they move on. But the point of all this story, the point of Lokai and Bele and Sharon, is that we focus on differences that don't mean anything, but we develop these hatreds, these prejudices, these feelings towards others that they are not just different, but they're awful, hateful prejudices. Lokai and Bele can't overcome it, and they wind up killing them, each other, eliminating a whole human race, or a whole race. It could have been said for Samaria and Samaritans and Jews. But what Jesus did is went right into Samaria, where Jews didn't go, talked to the outcast Samaritan woman, who above anybody should not be talked to. And went to understand not just her, but the people in the village and Samaritans as a whole. And they asked Jesus at the end, and his disciples, by the way, his disciples, stay. Because when we talk with each other, when we get to know each other, when we put aside these preconceptions and prejudices and thoughts, we tend to see the beauty and the value in other people. All right, let me stop there. But thanks for listening. This has been on my mind. This didn't come from a question. This was just something that was on my mind. And I want to share it with you. So guys, get out there. Meet someone not like you. And just talk to them. And let's see the beauty there is in each other, of knowing each other. I'm Pastor Chris. Keep the questions coming. I get to them. Sometimes I throw my own little thing in like I did today. But keep them coming. Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, at FL Compass Church, and now on Instagram, at FL Compass Church. Have a fantastic Wednesday. A great rest of the week. Weekend's coming. We'll see you Saturday.